A lot of people care. I met a lot of people that don't care. Nobody wants to be blamed for someone's, even suicidal thoughts, suicidal actions. We hear in the news, I hear in the news, suicide due to gambling harm across the world.
Giving some amount of money directly to the bank account of that person in order for this person to take care of all the necessities, just to give that person an extra couple of days when they can figure out what to do further. So how are you feeling today, Christina?
Good, thank you. How about you?
A bit tired, but it got better when we moved from the conference floor over here to have our little discussion. And welcome here in the Safer Gambling Zone.
We both seem tired, eh? We're like, we want to fall asleep. I sense it. It's so calm in here.
Yeah, it is. But I think that we won't fall asleep. That we will. I already had one. So, Christina, we've done a lot of work together in the past couple of months and preparations, and that's like an overreaching theme for this discussion, and that is a suicide and self-harm prevention. But as it goes in these podcasts and in these conversations, we mainly talk about the people who are behind all of that work. And it's not only the suicide and self-harm prevention, but there is much more to your work that you are doing, and also much more to a person who is bringing it in. So, Christina Theophilos, right? Do I pronounce it correctly?
You did.
We
practiced.
Yeah. And you let me know another thing, that it means in Greek the friend of God, right? So the Greek inheritance, basically living in Malta now, but being a Canadian, there's a lot to the mix.
Yes.
And I would like to talk about your journey towards online gambling. We do not have to go through every detail, but I know that you've been working as a university lecturer for more than 10 years, if I'm not wrong.
About 10 years, yeah.
Yes. Topics around crisis management, mental health, but also suicidal and self-harm threats. You also wrote a book, which is here by coincidence, Preventing Bullying. I mean, that's a really thick book, this one.
Yes.
So, I mean, I admire everyone who has wrote something like this. I admire them, because I cannot really imagine myself to be putting that much effort into it. Like, how many pages does it have? Almost 300.
Yeah.
And then you moved to Malta, working around safer gambling. So you've been working as a head of safer gambling at different operators. But I would like to move this to you and to tell me a little bit more about that. But mainly, what is your motivation behind topics like mental health, topics like suicide prevention, bullying? And then further, what was your motivation to apply these expertise and this definitely a passion in gambling world?
Well, thank you, Simon, for this question. Even this book, it took me about 8 years to write. It's a manual for teachers. Yeah, manual for teachers on handling, how to handle bullying in the classroom. As you know, it's rampant of all ages, right? I'm hearing stories with, at the age of 4 years old in daycare, bullying could happen, all the way to adulthood in the workplace. We see it in politics. We see it in sports. We see it on the news every day. Bullying is kind of everywhere. So I saw it, and I felt like there was a problem with our system, especially coming from Canada. It was very multicultural. And so I taught anti-discrimination, bullying prevention, mental health, and so on. Always really heavy subjects. And it was because it hit home for me. They always do. All the topics I've been so passionate about is because I've been a witness of it, was subject to it, and so on. So how I got into iGaming is the same thing. I saw it happen to, so gambling harm, I saw it happen to many close people around me. So I've asked CEOs, I've asked people in the industry, I've been working in the industry almost 7 years now, and I've asked people, have you ever known anybody with a gambling addiction? Have you ever known any affected others or loved ones? And they say no, or maybe yes, maybe no. So they don't really get the sensations, the mindset of these individuals. They just see it as like an ID number, right? And we have like thousands and millions of players from around the world.
So distant from them.
Yeah, it's really distant. So now I just wanted to ask you and maybe the audience to kind of close your eyes and imagine maybe 3 people you love the most. Your best friend, someone in your family that you love and respect the most. Maybe your partner, your romantic other. And then imagine that everything you loved about them, all their character, all their spunk, all their joy, all their laughter is gone completely. And this person is no longer who you thought they were. And you're witnessing this and you say, like, how can I help? And most times with addictions, you can't help them unless they hit rock bottom. And so my goal here, and with bullying prevention and so on, is we have to prevent it before they hit rock bottom. You wouldn't want that to happen to your father, your mother, your wife, your child. And there's people around the world that are watching this happen and suffering alone. So that was my goal, is to learn about iGaming and I did, sometimes the hard way, but I did, and that's my mission now is to protect gamblers and their families.
Thank you for bringing the goosebumps into me at the beginning of the podcast. I think it was a strong when you said it like that. Like, imagine that basically these emotions, this character is stripped away from a person. It really hits hard when you imagine like that. And I can also imagine that there are many people working in iGaming which they not necessarily are avoiding this kind of visualization or this kind of realization, but they have very little opportunity to do so, and they don't feel it. And they see that people spend money. They would say, like, okay, they are adults. They should be responsible for their own spending. So they have decided to gamble. But when you bring these experience to these people, you can really change the way how they treat these particular occasions. And I think it's a great mission. But let me get this straight. Sure. So was it like intentional? Like, how can I contribute to making online gambling better? I need to go to Malta and I need to go really?
Exactly.
Wow.
The hub of iGaming. I wanted to learn from the bottom up. So I did.
Okay.
I didn't go into customer support. I got straight in from responsible gaming because I had a background in educational counseling psychology. And I worked my way up quite fast, and I learned so much. It's been amazing. I met amazing people in this industry. A lot of people care. I met a lot of people that don't care about player protection. I'm sure you have too.
Yes, I did.
And that saddens me. It saddens me that they don't as much as they should, because like I just told you, if it was their brother, their mother, their loved one, I don't think they'd be as careless as what I've seen recently. But that's another topic.
This is really remarkable. And I don't think that I was speaking like this with anyone who's basically on the mission. You are on a mission not by a coincidence, but by a decision and commitment, That's great. That's exciting. I think it's also quite role modeling for others. Like, okay, the journey could be like this. The majority of people I speak with around responsible gambling era, it's like coincidence. It is a coincidence for me as well. I was searching for a job and the job description didn't even mention, responsible gambling, anything. I just end up here and I'm trying to give my best. But you're
doing so good. You're doing so good.
Yeah, but it's that's something else. That's something else. So yeah, I'm very happy to have you here and also to have the opportunity to work with you. So at the beginning, I've mentioned the suicide prevention course that you basically created and now is accessible on Casino Guru Academy as a resource which should be available for anyone who needs it. And I wanted to talk about the subject of suicide in gambling because it is highly stigmatized, right?
So there's not only customer support agents, there's the responsible gaming teams, VIP teams. Let's not forget about them. They need this training as well.
Right.
They're sometimes on WhatsApp with their VIP players, on chats as well, and they also should be trained on suicide prevention. So do I think that they're capable of handling a suicide threat? All these three groups, so responsible gaming, customer support, and VIP. Yes, the answer is yes, if they're trained properly. As an educator, I believe with the right tools, with the right repetition, with the right confidence, and right, that anyone could do anything. But that comes back to HR and hiring the right people. You have to make sure that you hire customer support that are able to handle these chats and calls if you have to. Right? So sometimes that chat will go to the next level where you have to call the police, you have to call the player. And this is terrifying for someone that's, doesn't have a degree in social work or psychology or crisis intervention. So this is why I designed the course, because I saw the need. I saw how the staff were not trained enough. And most importantly, regulations across the globe, most of them, I think would say 90% of them that are not regulated, do not require suicide prevention training for any customer-facing staff. So this is the problem, and this is the gap that our course fulfills.
And it could happen basically to anyone, right? In any location with any online gambling that you are operating, that you might encounter a person in such a distress.
Yeah.
And then it might be very impactful on how the person is going to react. And I was thinking, I can imagine that you've been through these situations before. Can you give me some examples? Like, what was the most impactful case, or like the one that most resonates with you?
I'm going to say all of them. Every single one of them pushed me to design this course. And people that don't know what's going on in responsible gaming teams, or, we speak to many people in our industry, and I've heard people say, I've handled 5 threats a day. Imagine.
5 threats a day?
Imagine what it could happen to your nervous system if you have to handle 5 threats a day when you're not even trained in this. And I'm talking about from my experience, but other people. And every threat, even those that you might think is a joke, it will make you shake. So also part of this course, we also say, like, you can't expect this customer support agent, after reading a chat and maybe someone having a gun, sending you a picture of a gun, a knife, them cutting themselves, them in a bathtub, a rope, you name it, pills. The examples are endless, and they'll stay with you forever. So to expect that 19-year-old customer support agent or VIP manager to keep on working after they had someone's life in their hands is severe. And this is why we need training. And this is why I hoped that this training could be, provided for free, so everyone could have access to it around the world.
Right.
It's too important not to be trained.
I remember from the training that there was an advice on what should be the break after having such a call, just to somehow regain the energy and reset, really. So what is the best way to do it afterwards? Okay, I mean, there's a specific time frame, but how you can reset? What can you do?
You have to talk about it. Don't hold it in. When someone's suffering overflows, that's when it collapses onto others, right? So you want to do some deep breathing, prayer, meditation, but talking about it always helps. So you're not keeping it all inside. You really have to express yourself and talk to HR, talk to somebody in your team. And that's what we talk about also in the course is dividing tasks. When someone's on chat with the player, keep them talking. And this is why I've seen and heard some companies that there's a customer support agent alone on a shift, alone at midnight, and he or she has all the responsibility to talk to the player, keep them chatting, and call the police. Operators, you should always have minimum 2 to 3 people alone, on call together, right? So divide the tasks. One person calls the police, one person keeps them on chat, and then after, debriefing is essential. Make sure the account is closed, make sure that email is sent with proper, country-related support links that have been verified, that you as head or manager have verified these support links, that this number works. And speaking about verification and preparation, we need to prepare before these suicide threats. Make sure that your outbound calls are working. Test them if you're calling the Philippines, if you're calling India, if you're calling, and yes, I said India. Some people say, yes, it's an illegal market, but there's still predictive markets there, right?
Yeah,
we're not going to get into that.
Not only predictive markets, but countless of operators which are operating there just because they do, right?
So they have to be prepared, and those emergency hotlines have to be tested.
But I think it's important to say like this, because the reality is that even in markets where it is, black and white prohibited gambling, you still have operators which operate there. And even these people should know how to respond to such a situation, because there is a big difference between ignoring and responding in a bad way to such a threats and operating in a market where you shouldn't.
Yes. So that's so important that you say that. So even predictive markets, esports, fantasy sports. So we talk about gambling and gaming. Where's the support organizations for gaming? Right? Now the youth they're spending thousands themselves on skins and everything, right? So they could also have a suicidal threat. There's lack of age verification for these kids. So what support do they have right now?
Very little.
Yes, it's
with gaming,
Gamers Anonymous.
It's
Gamers Anonymous, just like Gamblers Anonymous. Are you seeing Gamblers Anonymous in any of these support emails? Ask around. They're not being shared. But that's one of my hopes, is that we have, Gamblers Anonymous on this talk and to discuss that 12-step program, the treatment. We're not talking about treatment in RG. This is huge. We're talking about, yes, these numbers, I'm telling you these numbers, but how are we treating our players afterwards? How are we helping their families? Anyway.
Very little from the perspective of the operator, right? I mean, for many, it ends at the point when the account is closed, and ideally, at least, it's after a thorough conversation, and ideally, moving that person from one state to another when that person would understand what they need to do now. But the treatment goes afterwards. And before, you've mentioned the situation, and I think it might happen quite often. Making suicide threats as a joke or exaggerating. And I'm curious, what would be your advice on how to respond to these situations? Perhaps how to know when it is real, or do you need to? Is it required to figure it out? I mean, what should we do with this?
Oh, I love that question. It's so hard to say so simply, because with my background, I've studied behavioral psychology. I studied different age groups. I've studied addiction, who's most vulnerable. Again, for customer support agents who are 19 years old, hungover, working at, and they don't understand what's a joke and from not, right? You have to consider so many factors. I'm going to say it again, the demographics, the culture. For me, right away, when I see a suicide threat, I want to see the last name of the person. I want to see the age, gender, and how much they lost. Right away there, and then you put it together. And then you have to find someone who's a native speaker to translate, right? And that phrase that player said maybe on chat.
Yeah.
to really get it clear, to make sure that this is what is this person trying to say?
Right.
But then
read between the lines.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
But then that's step one is get clarification, paraphrase here. Like, what do you mean by that? Are you serious about this? Because if you are, then I have to, get help to come check on you. Because if you are, right? So all this training, so that's what's simplified in our training. It's all these, we have like 4 steps for customer support to really follow and to know how to handle it, whether or not it's a joke. But yes, what you said, reading between the lines. I think the 2 key words is shame. If you hear a player have any shame, but again, depending on culture, it's very much hidden.
Yeah.
And hopelessness. According to research, these are the 2 main risk factors for suicide that you have to listen out for.
Those are great clues, actually, because then, even though that you should be responding, I imagine it like that you should be responding to every threat, at least at the beginning, like it's real. These 2 clues can give you the higher assurance that this is happening. So we were talking about why you have created this course, and I think it's quite clear, and I think that the message is very straight, to have this resource available for anyone, and that perfectly fits to the Casino Guru Academy, and I'm very grateful that we were able to do this together, and we have such a resource there. But perhaps I will ask you, which part of the course was most difficult for you to prepare?
None of it. But I could tell you the most controversial one.
Okay.
The most controversial section was the goodwill gesture, or the goodwill. If people don't know what a goodwill gesture is so when someone has a suicidal threat, the operator has a choice to give this player some money to get through the day. It's called the goodwill gesture.
I was a bit surprised with this one. Yes. So tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Because from the beginning, and I'm saying this because I'm expecting you correcting me, that it sounded to me like when you are giving some sort of a bonus to a player who is desperate.
Not a bonus. The account is closed. And this is why you want to ensure, if you're ever going to give a goodwill gesture, like I have, you're going to want to make sure his account is closed. He's blocked himself using, let's just say, betblocker.org. He's self-excluded from all sites that you've taken, that he's shared a screenshot of that from on his desktop and mobile app.
Right.
He showed proof that his payment is maybe at -0, or maybe he has 10 euro in his account. And then right now it's a matter of life or death,
right.
Matter of divorce or not, feeding his 5-year-old son, getting him milk or not. And you hear someone moan. Like, you could tell, I find, after a few years, when someone's lying or not.
Yeah.
Vibrations are everything. You could hear when someone's sincere. You could hear when a player is shaking to death.
Yeah.
That this is a matter of life and death. So if the player has given 10,000 euro and spent it on this one casino on yours that you're seeing, you don't know what he's played on others. If you only see 10 euro and he's suicidal, you don't know what he's put on other casinos. Maybe he just made a $50,000 sports bet on this event, and he is shaking like a leaf and about to jump off that cliff. So giving this player hope, and when you hear it in their voice, giving them a little hope that just let me talk to my manager and see what we could do. Just stay with me. I got you. Just stay with me a little longer. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
That's what people need. And I've been in situations that I said, if you're not going to give it to my boss, then I'm going to give it from my own pocket. I don't mind. Let's save a life here.
Right. Yeah.
And this is where heads and managers of responsible gaming need to speak up for the player and hopefully have a wonderful compliance and C-level that'll hear you and trust you. It's all about trust, and so hiring the right people in this field. Yeah, so that's what the goodwill
When
gesture is.
when you explain it like that, I can really imagine that it might go a long way. I mean, it might mean a lot for that person. And I saw the expression on your face when I said bonus, and that's fine. And I did it on purpose because I wanted to make a clear distinction
Yeah.
between these.
Yes.
That what we are talking about is basically giving some amount of money directly to the bank account of that person in order for this person to take care of all the necessities, just to give that person an extra couple of days when they can figure out what to do further. And yeah, like I said, that could be something that could change very much for that person.
Oh, yeah. And so could I just tell you about the controversy? I got a lot of pushback from that. Even friends in the industry, they were saying, no, Christina, this is the player's responsibility. He or she spent all that money. If you went shopping, are we going to give you money back? If you drank too much at the bar, are we going to give you your money back? Like they're grown up. You did this, so we're not going to have pity for you. But this is what responsible gaming is. I feel like we should have a little bit of compassion and empathy that, if there's intoxication involved, if there's vulnerability involved, mental health issues involved, we have to be a little bit more sensitive. These are our brothers and sisters of society. And I'm hearing people say, this is not my brother or sister. No, it really is. And we have to care for one another. If not, what are we doing? So yeah, that's my job.
You've mentioned that some teams might encounter 5 threats a day. It wouldn't be that common, right?
No. Yeah, those are for 5 threats a day could be for the larger operators, but they're not as common in the smaller ones. Nonetheless, all customer support has to be trained. And how often would you think? Every 6 months, right? Every year is right now. Some require just once a year to do this suicide prevention training, but I personally don't think it's enough. I think after each suicidal threat, if the manager, the customer support manager or team leader can take his team away, tell them about what happened, debrief it, see what went wrong, what went right, what could we have done better, and to always have this constant learning going on in your team. Right? And go from there.
Right. I mean, I think that it happens more than one would think. And especially it happened to me when I was talking about the course to one of my colleagues. And some of them has worked at the operators before. And they replied yeah, it sounds like a very good training. And they are out of that kind of business doing. So now they work at our company doing something completely different. But they would remember how it was when they were working for the operator. And let's say sounds really good, because it happened many times when I was there.
Yeah.
And I guess it somehow aligns with what is the player base, how many players are there, because then the chances are higher. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that we can get back to what we were saying before, that it can happen to any company, to any operator at any time. So it's good to be prepared.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We are getting to the end slowly, and there is still a few questions. And one of them was focused on your wishes for the industry, your wishes for the responsible gambling, safer gambling community, and suicide prevention. So what would be the thing, or what are the things that you would wish that would happen in this area?
Will I give you 3 wishes instead of 1?
Definitely, yes.
All right. So I think the first one would be to ensure that there's a risk detection tool across the world, throughout all of our operations, because without it, we cannot identify these high-risk players. So that would be number 1. I'm seeing a lot of gray markets slowly come around, just like Curacao right now added that we needed a risk detection tool. And I was so happy that they integrated that. So that would be number 1. Number 2 is, so with those markers of harm or indicators, that we would actually have an intervention, a human intervention where a connection is formed. Because I find a lot of these players are lonely. They're going through certain problems. Yes, there's the entertainment part for most of the majority of the players, but for that small group, we need to involve community and human interaction. So I wish that the EGBA that just developed the 9 markers of harm, I wish that maybe next year that they would push for interventions to be a part of the protocols for these regulators to enforce across Europe, across America, that yes, an interaction must occur.
Yeah.
And number 3, it would be for operators to donate a very small percentage, like 0.1%, to research and treatment. South Africa is doing that right now, excluding lotteries.
Yeah.
They don't get the joy of giving that 0.1%, but I believe they should. And then I think this world would be a better place.
Yeah, lotteries are somehow, in many occasions, kind of on a different track
Yes.
of player protection. I mean, there are arguments for and against it, but I think that they should take their part as well.
Me too.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about research, which is a important part also for the subject of suicide harm prevention and de-escalation, because then you have a good roadmap and you figure out a way how to do it more effectively. So we were talking about wishes. Now let's talk about hopes.
Okay.
So what would be your hope? What is your hope that people are going to take this? What is your hope that people are going to take out of this conversation?
That it's a serious issue. That people in the industry, like it's serious. I don't know if you've all worked in responsible gaming, but when you have a life on the other end of the line, whether it's a joke or not a joke, we have to take it seriously. People's lives are so beautiful and fragile, and we have to be trained. Our teams need to be trained better than they are now. So thank you so much for allowing me to create this course and offer it freely so a wider community could access it. And I just hope that we're more skilled to protect our brothers and sisters.
That's very... That's great to end our conversation with that on a hopeful note.
Yes.
I would say, and I am grateful as well that our academy is the platform that can provide it, and my wish is that it will reach as much or as many as possible individuals in iGaming and help them to be more prepared in such situations and handle them in a way that will be more effective and ideally save some lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Could we just plug in a few people that actually do in-person training?
Of course.
Yeah, so in-person training, if you want to do additional work, because learning online is very good for a certain group, but there's different types of learning styles, and we have to encompass all of them. And so if companies want to spend a little bit more, they could have professional in-person training. There's, maybe you could put it on your website, or there's Jo from ESG in Gibraltar that she gives in-person training.
Jo Abergel.
Yes. There's a woman, Yvonne, who does it in Netherlands, so focused on the Dutch market. There's Pedro Romeo also that does Safe Talk training. Epic Global Solutions as well. So people with lived experience can help share their stories. So there's just a lot of resources out there in addition to this course. So keep on learning, keep on teaching your staff, and we'll do good.
Yeah. Thank you for linking it as well. I mean, our courses in our academy, they have its place. And for many, it could be a starting point because there is a limit. You have a online course which can only go to a certain depth of the topic.
Exactly.
And as you said, the in-person trainings and trainings from, like, it doesn't have to necessarily be in person, but even if you have someone online and basically answering your questions, you know, that's that might be the occasion when you will become more confident as a customer support agent or responsible gambling or VIP manager when dealing with such situations. And I'm glad that we are able to blend these two things together.
Definitely.
And again, I'm thankful and I'm very happy that you find time to have this conversation with me and to be on this podcast. It was a very meaningful and enjoyable conversation. And I hope it's going to be like that for the rest of the audience as well.
Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Christina.